Hey everybody, we're Pressgang Mutiny. This is the Shanty Show. I'm Richard.
I'm James.
And I'm Stefan.
So, a Polak, a Spaniard, and a Canadian walk into a bar, and I'm joking, but no, I'm not actually joking. It really did happen. No punchline ensued, but uh, but James gives me a call late one night, and he says, "Hey, over at Drome, there's this Polish group, a Polish shanty group. They also do Cape Breton fiddle music. So do you want to come out for a pop?" So I rolled down Queen Street West and meet James. And who do we meet in the crowd? But Miguel Perez and his friends, Pony Pisador, who are a group of musicians that do sea shanties and they play an incredible take on the music that is certainly unlike anything that we had bumped into. So we stayed in touch, and well, we have a podcast. So what better place to reconnect with one of these folks that we met a couple of years ago in that bar on Queen Street West to talk shanties. So let's launch into it with Miquel.
To me away. Miguel Perez from El Pony Pisador. Welcome to the Shanty Show. We're really happy to have you with us. And let's just start with some of the basics. How on earth do five young guys from Barcelona start singing sea shanties?
Well, it happened in different levels because I was the last one to get in the band as it was like getting formed, and one of our members, Guillem Cudern, he plays banjo, and he's really into getting to discover new styles and new kinds of music, and he kind of knew something about singing on the ships while working and stuff, but he didn't know exactly what it was. So he did a very simple thing, which was getting into Google and writing pirate music, pirate songs.
Nice.
And he discovered that was called sea shanties somehow. Not the pirates were singing that, we don't know, but Google said something like working on the sea, on the tall ships and stuff, it's called sea shanties. So it was his first contact with the shanty world. Then he get more involved, and he and Ramon, which is the guitar player, they went to the Falmouth Shanty Festival just to hang out and listen to some music and get related to this culture, and they really loved it. And they started knowing people from other bands and shanty choirs that helped them a lot. They give them quite a lot of repertoire. Guillem could also buy a book about sea shanties. I don't know the name exactly, but I've been told it's kind of the Bible of sea shanties.
That's a
Shanties
shame.
from the seven seas.
Yeah, I think it gets mentioned in every single episode we do. Somebody brings the book up. So there you go.
Well, I think it deserves it, maybe, because it gives you like a lot of information to start with. And on the other side, I was just getting in the band. I actually didn't know the others quite much, but I was spending time with my other friends, playing a game called Assassin's Creed Black Flag,
Yeah.
which I'm sure most of you have heard of. And that was kind of my first contact with sea shanties, like getting to listen to them and paying attention on the lyrics and all the situations it describes and stuff. So yeah, this was like our first contact. But after that, we started as a band singing them and practicing them and falling in love with the shanty culture. So we went to Great Yarmouth Festival, which was our first shanty festival. After that, we went to Harrods and we went to like kind of so many of them. I can't remember right now, but every one festival after the other, we learned new songs. We've met new people like John and Sue, like the Kimbers Men, like the Longest Johns, Norfolk Broads, and it kind of created some sort of a family of shanties for us, like some English-speaking family. There's that lady, that woman called H, who who is kind of like a godmother for us on this English ground. And she told us quite much of what we know, or some strings that we could pull so we can discover all the stuff. So the situation right now is that shanties are kind of a big part of what we do, and something that we really enjoy, especially because we love singing in harmony. That was something quite much before we knew about sea shanties, but also because it's quite simple to get to learn. I mean, you can do it quite much complex, but to get started, it's really easy. And I remember some years ago, we tried to start like a shanty choir here in Barcelona, and we had a lot of people, but it was kind of a lot of work to do, the band and the choir, so it ended up a bit. But we could make a lot of people join, and some people knew like how to sing really properly, but others didn't, and we could all join together. But on the other side, I know that we don't do it like the proper way, because maybe sometimes I think we do too much harmony. Sometimes sea shanties, I'm sure that were sung more like a unison thing, or maybe two different voices. But we try to make a wide harmony, the widest, I don't know if I'm saying it well, as wide as we can. And in fact, sometimes we like to make approaches to other genres. For example, our last recording of Bull in the Alley, it has something in the end. It's called a tag, and it comes from the barbershop culture.
So help me, Bob, I'm bull in the alleyway. Hey, bull in the alley. Help me, Bob, I'm bull in the alley. Bully down in Shimbona. Bully down in Shimbona. Bully down in Shimbona. Help me, Bob. Bully down in Shimbona.
And it's like kind of a very spectacular ending. One person makes like a very, very, very long note without changing the note, and the others kind of change the notes to make different chords with all the same line of notes at the top. Yeah. So yeah, this is our approach. I think it was a very long text, but since the beginning to now, I think that's all.
I love the way you guys approach the music. You're clearly having a lot of fun with it, and you referenced a little bit there, because yeah, on your latest album, It's Never Too Late for Shanties, you've got, Essequibo River, which goes into like a Skrillex thing and some reggae. You've got Whoop Jamboree reggae style. You've got Pay Me My Money Down, sort of a Dixieland type style. Like you're just playing with it. Like, where do those ideas come from? Walk us through how that process works. Like, how do you arrive at a Dixieland version of Pay Me My Money Down?
Well, we let it a bit flow. I mean, we listen to different shanties or different kind of songs, and we keep them in our mind because it's something that we really like. But on the other side, it's not just especially songs. We also like to go find musical resources, like genres, like something that you can make in the middle of the song. For example, this tag I was talking about. So we try to get all the resources that we think they match together, and we try to see which song invites all these resources to get in. And it happened to Pay Me My Money Down. At the beginning, when we were singing, we were like, I thought I heard the captain say, pay me my money down. After that, it came, I thought I heard the captain say. And it was like getting swinger and swinger. So we said, okay, let's do like a Dixieland traditional jazz approach.
Pay me my money down. Soon as the boat was clear of the bar, pay me my money down. The captain knocked me down with a spar. Pay me my money down. Pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me my money down. Pay me your gold tail. Pay me my money down.
Because, it felt right. And also with Essequibo, we like to make a lot of jokes, and it felt like this song invited us to do that.
Hey, yes, a quiver yodel is the yodel. Body na, we are somebody, oh. Somebody, oh, Johnny, somebody, oh. Body na, we are somebody, oh.
I mean, there are other shanties, like there are more maybe deeper and more serious, and it invites to you. Like Santiana, for example, in a couple of albums ago, it felt like really dark. And Guillem and Ramon are really into metal music. So they started taking some resources out of metal music, and we don't have a drums or electric guitar or electric bass at all. But these resources could be used in our folk instrumentation. So we said, okay, if Santiana is quite dark, let's make it a bit darker.
We're hunting a treasure buried deep below. We've away Santiana, around Cape Horn, through the ice and snow, all across the plains of Mexico. When it's heave her up and away we'll go.
And we are really enjoying that, and I think people enjoy that too. I think something similar we did to Wellerman in this last album. So yeah, I think that's the way it works. We just take different things from other places and try to see what invites what to match together.
Well, I find that pretty interesting because one of the things we've talked about throughout this show is this idea that the recordings we get of sea shanties, the shanties that are featured in Stan Hugo's book, we tend to think of this as like, this is the canon. This is the music that's been passed down, and it's sort of from one source in a way. And what we're discovering increasingly is that's not really the case. This is music that came from a lot of different sources, a lot of different time sort of periods within, say, a 60-year time period. And that these sailors were often going to music halls when they would go to places like New York. So they were hearing popular music, and they were taking those popular elements and adapting them to work on the ships as well. So in a way, I see what you guys are doing as a continuation of that in a 21st century kind of way.
That's nice to hear. Thank you very much. I also think that music has to be kept alive, and knowledge has also to be kept alive. I mean, it's quite good to sing shanties like some sort of orthodoxly, like it was or like it should be. And it's the museum part of music.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, you have to do what you were saying, like try to get it to your 21st century ear. And this is what keeps the music alive. So I think the museum part and the live part are equally important.
Yeah, that's actually something that we mentioned in another episode recently. That cool. Yeah, you kind of need the both parts. You need the people that document it and preserve it in the way that it was done, because otherwise that knowledge gets lost. But you need it to be a living, piece of art as well, not just a museum as well. So
yeah, it really seems to be kind of one of the general themes that we've come to. One of these conclusions in speaking with all of our guests, that in existing on the shanty spectrum as a fan or a practitioner, shanty practitioner, it's there's always a place where you land in terms of taking what it is, whether it was our friends out of New Orleans, or whether it's you guys doing your thing, or whether it's some of the people that are more properly, documenting the history. And collecting songs and trying to represent them as faithfully as we possibly can, given the nature of the oral tradition itself. I think this is really one of the pieces that we've settled on as a main conclusion over our discussions. And I guess the question that I have that comes out of it is that how is your take received, generally speaking? Who's showing up? Do you play like pop crowds? Does everyone just kind of show up and party? Are you playing to a particularly concerted folk crowd? Is it musician nerds that are showing up? Who listens to your music when you go out and play?
That's something that really amazes me. Like a really interesting question, because at the beginning Well, we have this kind of joke that we say if in one of our concerts there's two people in the audience, it's two people more than we expected to come to our concert. Because we at the beginning didn't imagine that people could enjoy massively the music we do. But on the other side, like a month ago, we played a concert in Girona, which is like a very important city close to Barcelona. And we had like kind of an audience of about 10,000 people or a bit more maybe. And they were all really having much fun with our music. And sometimes what we do is we take shanties and we try to, well, we have different options. We can sing with the original lyrics. We can try to translate the lyrics, or we can take the lyrics and out and write something new in Catalan. So it brings it closer to the people around here. And yeah, I think because of that and because of all the way we play it on stage, it makes people have fun and party. But what amazes me is that people in these times of popular pop music and electronic music and stuff, that people comes to our concerts, because we are the only band in Catalonia playing this kind of music. And I feel like they don't have the obligation to listen to us, and they do because they want, like it's a voluntary thing. And that's something that amazes me and tells me that the way people listens to music is much more similar to ours than I thought and than I expected. And we also play a lot of Irish music and instrumental folk from everywhere. And people seems to enjoy that. It's like they never knew they could enjoy that, but they enjoy it. So I don't know. I have some surprise in me because I don't know exactly how to explain what's happening, but people really seems to enjoy it. And at the beginning, it was just in Catalan maybe, but year after year, they are getting interested in sea shanties as what they were or as what they are right now. And that's something we are really proud of, like taking some culture and getting it closer to people who never heard about it.
Yeah.
I think you said a couple of things there that really interested me. One of which was this idea that listeners are so exposed to, say, modern music, electronic music, things that are very precise in a way, and we're very used to hearing that. And in a way, when you hear people just singing a cappella, it kind of draws people in, I think, more so because we're less used to hearing a very sort of music from a previous time. But I think that music and also the Irish music that you talk about, this was communal music and it was also party music. So when people hear that, I think it does sort of, it speaks to something in the human emotions that people can understand. Even if you're not from a particular place, you can kind of relate to the sounds that it kind of brings up, you know, and the sort of the joyful nature of it. And then conversely, I was thinking a few years ago when I was hearing some dubstep and all of a sudden they started doing these 6/8 sort of grooves. And I was like, oh, all right, jigs are back. You know, it's like a jig rhythm and people are dancing these jigs centuries after jigs were popular. And there's something about it that people understand that this is dance music. This is party music.
That's so true. And I think that the ingredient that makes folk music as it is, sometimes it doesn't get to rhythm, harmony, and melody at the same time. For example, in Irish music, for me, the most important thing about instrumental Irish music is the melody. Mm-hmm. So you can put the rhythm and the harmony instrumentation that you want. It makes like a lot of bands appear right now in Ireland. I can talk about one of my favorites called Miquel. And they have a really good fiddler playing all the melodies as they are supposed to be, more or less. But all the backing of it, all the rhythmic and harmonic parts are, well, there's a drum, there's some synthesizers. There's another band from the States, I think it's called the Olam with 3 L's. And they have a bass player called Joe Dart that comes from a funk band called Wolfpack. And, you know, it's not what makes the Irish music Irish, what's making the bass player. So they try to be more imaginative on the rhythmic and harmonic approach, and let the melodies sound Irish. And that's something I think it's getting this music closer to our way of understanding. And as you said, there's a kind of jig dubstep style that it's been used a lot to get these ideas from music from the past. Because as you said before, also in architecture and in visual arts and maybe in clothing also, there's this thing called vintage, which means that people sometimes enjoy the ancient stuff instead of the modern and very contemporary. And it's something that it goes back and forth and back and forth. But in music, it happens the same. And we are living in an era with a lot of electronic resources and a lot of easy ways to get to do a pop song. But sometimes, I think it's happening right now, the ancient things get your interest. And shanties, especially when you make it with a beautiful harmony, they can become really mesmerizing for the people who listen to it, especially because it repeats all over. If you enjoyed the chorus of the song, just wait 30 seconds because it's going to come back once again. And I think it's that progressive and thing that makes shanties come back and other traditional musics come back. It's happening quite a bit here in Spain with other folk styles from the north of the peninsula. It's happening exactly the same that we were talking about.
Now that is leading into a question I wanted to ask as well. So when you mentioned the north of the peninsula, I know there's Galicia in the sort of northwest corner, which is the Celtic region of Spain, and you've got the Basque country, and you've got these different cultures in Spain. It's not really a homogenous country, if I'm understanding this correctly. I know Andalusia is famous for flamenco. So I'm curious, I have a few questions, I suppose. My first one of which is there a distinct sort of Catalan folk music style? And on top of this, I have another question, which is, are there naval songs from different regions of Spain? Because, Spain has a very long history of sailing all around the world and a very sort of naval powered empire. So I'm curious if there are any sort of either work songs or even just sort of leisurely songs from different regions of Spain.
Well, to answer that, I have something that we don't know and something that we do know. I will start with which we don't know. There's this word in Spanish, which is saloma, which is as Google Translator says and other websites say, it's like the direct translation of the sea shanty. But if you are on the internet searching for salomas, like trying to get the repertoire, it seems like it doesn't exist. And it's something that makes us like really anxious because you don't have a word for something that doesn't exist. That's absurd. So I'm sure there's much more material of that than we can get easily on the internet or maybe on libraries and stuff. But on the other side, yeah, we know some songs. There are some rowing songs from the Basque Country. There are some fishermen songs from Galicia, but I don't know quite much about them. We know about the Catalan sea music, which is something called habanera. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but it's quite different from sea shanties because it's not meant to sing while you work. It seems like people here working were much serious and quiet. And they just sing it like around the fire on the beach, on the tavern with rum on your hand. And it has a lot of influence from music from Havana, Cuba. So it's something like happens going to Cuba and coming back, back and forth. It just happened. And it's a kind of music from Catalonia, and it's the sea music in Catalonia. Like, so, I don't know the word in English to say, but it's like the sea music of Catalonia is habanera.
Well, there's and Stefan would probably correct me on the pronunciation, but forecastle songs or forebidders, which were the songs that the sailors would sing in their free time, and it's about being a sailor. It's not a work song necessarily.
That's exactly how it is, and I would say it's the how you said for
a forecastle song or a forebidder.
Forebidder, okay.
Yeah. I have another question. You were mentioning the connection with Cuba, and So a couple questions there. First of all, I heard Carlos Santana recently saying essentially, you know, all this music from the Americas that we're referring to as Latin music, really it's all African music. And that was a big statement. I think there's a lot of truth to that. You know, and if you look at the music of North America, you look at the American music, it's impossible to think of that without the African American influence. So I guess one of my questions here is, are there any Afro-Caribbean Spanish language work songs that you've ever come across?
I don't know about the work songs, but there's this style. I'm sure it's not working music, but I think it's quite related, as you said. We have this sort of music called rumba catalana, which is the kind of rumba that is played here in Catalonia. And it has like a lot of history of traveling down, up, and forth and back, because it's the music played by the gypsies, with a lot of influence by the Cuban music. It's kind of related with habanera, because habanera, it gets into a genre called the tavern songs. And one of those other styles of tavern songs are called rumba or rumbeta. So it's a Catalan, gypsy, Caribbean, and Afro culture. So all this traveling to get to rumba catalana, that is what we have nowadays. And I think it's we are kind of very proud in here, especially Barcelona, because most of that culture came out from Barcelona, in something like it's make of our musical flag as a way of singing.
That's interesting. And now that makes me think, in flamenco, you do have some rumbas as well. And of course, flamenco is often associated with gypsy music and gypsy culture. But on top of that, there's other sort of cultural elements in there, going back to Jewish people that were living in Spain for centuries and millennia, as well as North African influence on flamenco. So it sounds like there's a real melting pot going on there musically in the Iberian Peninsula.
Yes, correct. And I think one human life is not enough to get to know all of it. I mean, it's quite too much. And you just said there's a huge Arabic and gypsy influence in flamenco music. But what most people doesn't know, and I'm just finding out like these days, is that there's a lot of Arabic and gypsy influence into Galician music also.
Okay.
And we in Catalonia have kind of a dance called Ball de Gitanas, which is the gypsies dance. There's much more influence than what the surface lets you see. So the more you dig, the more you get. And one human life is absolutely not enough to get to know all of it. So yeah, that's something we are really proud of too.
That's beautiful. And it also makes me think, I've been asked this question many times in the past, like, well, why do I play Eastern European music? Why did I study some flamenco music growing up? And I think the easy answer is musicians like music. You know, if you hear something catchy, if you hear something that's fun, and it's something you can really connect with other musicians without even speaking the same language, I think it's a very natural thing to just be drawn to different kinds of music and to want to explore different kinds of, cultural approaches to music.
Yeah. I'm quite. I agree totally with that, and also I think that in some special cases it comes to the very function of that music. For example, I really love Jamaican music. I really love reggae music, and the founders of reggae music said this kind of music, it's gonna go all around the world and come back to Jamaica. And it's exactly what is happening. So when I play reggae music, I feel like, okay, I'm doing exactly what the founders of this music wanted me to do, to play it from the other side of the world and make it, like the whole round the world.
Now, me lads, be of good cheer, for the Irish coast will soon draw near, and we'll set a course for old Cape Clear. So Jenny, get your road gigs done. Whip jamboree, with your pigtails
shanties kind of feel a bit of the same because it's traveling on a tall ship from one continent to the other and to the other and to the other. So singing it from another country, it feels like something natural for sea shanties. Maybe not for other genres of music, but for a traveling music, which is sea shanties, I think it's really, really awesome. And on the other side, for example, in Irish music, I think it has a point on what the Irish people like and how you treat their heritage. And for example, for us, we have a huge admiration and appreciation for the musicians over there. And when we play, sometimes when we play for them, we do it like a bit scared, but because we have so much respect for that heritage. And we don't intend any kind of offense. But on the other side, we try to get their respect also. Like, hey, I'm here playing your music because I really love it. It's like another way, a musical way of saying, hey, I love you all. So I think that's the way we try to approach it.
Well, and then that ties into how Richard and I met you guys about 2 years ago now at Drome Taberna on Queen Street West in Toronto. And the reason why we happened to be there that night is we heard there's a Polish band in town doing sea shanties and playing Cape Breton music from Nova Scotia, Canada. So I'm intrigued by this. I know there's a big sea shanty sort of scene going on in Poland, and Richard's got some Polish background. So the two of us went down there, and all of a sudden we run into you guys who were over from Barcelona. I think you guys were performing in the States shortly before. Yes. And here we are at a Eastern European themed bar and restaurant in Toronto because we all love sea shanties.
That's correct. And I think it brings back things that were alive before us. And I try to imagine if that would something that would have happened before. But you know, as I was saying, it's music that you sing when you travel on ships. So I'm sure we were not the first Polish, Spanish, Canadian people singing sea shanties ever. I'm sure it happened before many times. So yes, I'm a huge fan of Cape Breton music, especially because I play fiddle, and the fiddle culture in Canada, especially in Cape Breton, it's something I really, 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 really love. And I got in touch with this festival called Celtic Connections.
Oh yeah.
Which
or
is
Celtic
kind
Colors.
of
Celtic Colors.
Celtic Colors. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Celtic Colors. Celtic Connections it's from
Glasgow.
From Europe. Yes.
Yeah.
Celtic Colors, and that's the way I first heard about Cape Breton music, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So hopefully I will come someday and get it live and direct.
I'm happy to hear that. I'll also point out my first fiddle teacher, Sandy McIntyre, who was an incredible fiddle player and wonderful teacher, just a lovely human being, just passed away 3 days ago in his late 80s. So it's something that I was very sad to hear. But also the music that he shared with the community in Toronto, with the people back home in Cape Breton, and with people all around the world is really, really something that I'm proud that I had a connection with Sandy, and I'm so happy to hear that people in Catalonia are really interested with Cape Breton music. So maybe we can dedicate this shanty to Sandy McIntyre.
I would be pleased to do that. Yes, of course.
Come on, you old heroes, give a due to me song. We'll sing in the praise of fruit, brandy and rum. There's a clear crystal fountain near England shall roll. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. I'll fathom the bowl, I'll fathom the bowl. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. From France we got brandy, from Jamaica comes rum. Sweet oranges and apples from Portugal come. That stout and strong cider our islands control. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. I'll fathom the bowl, I'll fathom the bowl. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. My captain often he disturbs me when I'm laid at my ease. He does as he likes and he says as he please. That man, he's the devil, he's dark as the cold. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. I'll fathom the bowl, I'll fathom the bowl. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl. I'll fathom the bowl, I'll fathom the bowl. Bring me the punch ladle, I'll fathom the bowl.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
So, Miquel, I wanted to ask you, because another way that El Pony Pisador, I think, has done a really good job of reaching audiences has been through what you do with YouTube. Seems like, and I'm probably exaggerating, but it seems like almost every other week there's a new video that pops up, and so you've really been having a lot of fun with it. How important has that been to you, and how do you approach, making the videos?
It's quite much important for us, especially, starting with the albums. We realized that we cannot make videos of one image and just the audio, because it makes it gives nothing new but the song, and it's better to get to another Spotify or another platform to just listen to the music. If you have YouTube is a video platform, so give something to the people to enjoy as a video. So we realized that it doesn't have to be something really, really fancy. It can be something really simple, but if there's kind of movement and something, it makes more people watch to it, and they enjoy it. At the beginning, I was like, I don't know if people's gonna enjoy it, but they do. So every single song in our last album, the others before, they have their own video clip. Sometimes it's more complex, sometimes it's the easiest thing ever, but it's better to have that than not have nothing, or just put some image and play the song. Even if you don't do anything, but you have uploaded your music to Spotify or stuff, YouTube creates automatically a link for the song, and all the views it gets, it's all the views that you don't get. So it's a good thing to make your own videos and give some importance to it. And also, we've been doing some streamings, especially when there was like all the pandemic worst times. And it was great because people paid to listen to their favorite songs. And sometimes we just gave them away. I don't know how to tell, but for free. But people could feel like more connected to us, because when you're in an open air concert, you cannot say, hey, play that one, and we cannot properly listen to you and just do it. But on the internet, it's how it goes, and sometimes that's something that the audience enjoys a lot. And on the other side, we've been doing this collaboration with a very important radio station here in Catalonia, with a morning show, and we go twice a month. One Wednesday we do, the other we don't, and consecutively. And what we do is we take more like pop songs, sometimes definitely bad songs, and we take them to some different folk genres, and we play them on a video that we upload to YouTube also, and we played it on the radio. And we talk about, hey, we took this song and we took this genre with all these resources, and we put them on there. For example, there's the famous kind of music called sardana from Catalonia, which is done more or less like that. Nowadays, it's old people thing, but it's very easy to recognize for Catalonian people. And one of the versions we did was like Smash Mouth's All Star.
Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get your show on, get paid and home.
In a sardana, in a vocal choir sardana way. And that's more or less how it goes. And people is enjoying it really, really much. And that's a good example of making a video, really simple. It's better than do nothing at all. So we stick to that, and we are having really good results with that.
I'm curious as well, like, what has the reception been within Spain and within Catalonia to, what you guys are doing, and particularly the shanties. You mentioned earlier that you had, great traction with the shanty choir, and a lot of people were turning up. You said, you're proud to be bringing this type of music to audiences there. But as you're starting out, do people have any sense of what this is? Like shanties, and what's the reception been? How have you grown that audience?
We've grown that a lot for different reasons, I think. Our most famous song is Tot es part de ser un pirata, which is a direct translation from It's All Part of Being a Pirate. A famous and known song in the Shanty audiences, but in Catalonia, no one know that. So we translated kind of what the song means. We didn't take like letter by letter, but we make like kind of a whole interpretation, and the meaning of the song is still the same, and people really loves it. And I think it started from that. We then did other shanties in English, and we translated others. We have this kind of didactic or educational video talking about sea shanties, as we do with other styles, but we did it in Catalan. So everyone in here could just open that, and sometimes when people doesn't know exactly how to speak English in certain things, they go to the automatic subtitles on YouTube, and sometimes it can be much more confusing than listening to the English version. So people, like the most of the audience could not really understand what shanties were, and how much we like that. So we thought it was important to make this kind of educational videos and relate it with the songs we sing. And also this translating or getting new lyrics. I don't remember exactly the name in English of this shanty, but I'm sure maybe you will know. And the lads, they sing melodious.
Yeah, pleasant and delightful.
Pleasant and delightful, yes. We have a version of that one called Al llom del Diplodocus, which means the back of the Diplodocus, and it's a song talking about how the Diplodocus was on the sun too much, and he had not this cream for sun protection, and he's complaining about that. And nowadays it's one of the songs that people sings the most. It almost feels like a football anthem song. Like people. That's something, it amazes me so much, and we are never tired of repeating, okay, this song is not ours, this is an original shanty song, we changed the lyrics, but it's a sea shanty, and people really enjoys that. I think it was not as difficult as it could look, because for me it felt so easy and so natural.
That's also interesting, changing the lyrics. I mean, you've really changed the topic of the song there, and changed the language of it. But that's something that's come up in other episodes too, how lyrically this type of music, the lyrics did change from one ship to another, from one shantyman to another. And then there's an earlier version of Shanties from the Seven Seas, and it's got a few songs that are part in English, part in French, or sort of borrowing words from different languages. Like what's a good example of that? Is John Kanaka, is it? Or they say Tulaye, which I think is a Polynesian word, a word from the South Pacific.
I think it's Hawaiian, Polynesian. I don't exactly know where, but I think I read the same thing. Yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Again, you guys are following in this sort of old tradition, but in your own very unique sort of El Pony Pisador kind of way. And it sounds like that's something you guys do a lot of as well, is taking popular songs and doing them in a traditional form. So yeah, just it's not so much a question as a statement that I find that pretty interesting about you guys.
Yes, thank you very much. And we also think that not all the time, not in the whole repertoire, but having fun and laughing and making jokes and ironies and sarcasm even, it's something that comes with folk music many times, not all the time, of course. That's some serious and crying and dramatic, tragic songs, but a big part of the folk repertoire, at least in Europe and America, they're talking about things that make people laugh. So we think we haven't invented anything if we make people laugh with our folk music, because it has been like that for a long time. So it can complement what you said.
And that makes me think that I was thinking a similar thing yesterday, how with Irish music, for example, you do have those songs that are hilarious and they make you laugh, and then you've got those other ones that are so sad that it can make you cry. So to me, that's sort of a sign of a good performance is if you experience that sort of range of human emotions. And I think that's very true of folk music.
Totally. And I think it makes me think about the first song of our new album. It's called L'abordatge. I don't know exactly the word in English when you board a ship, like as a pirate, you're on a ship and you attack to another one. I don't know exactly.
Boarding.
Boarding? Okay, perfect. Yes. And we took the melodies from Hi Barbary, Shiny O, and Spanish Ladies, and we mixed them up. And we did kind of an orchestral recording, kind of a tribute to the Pirates of the Caribbean sound, because it's been something that has a big weight on our memory from the childhood. And if I'm interested into old stuff about the sea, it's in a big part because I saw that film. And there's also this musical from Catalonia called Maricel, which is also about pirates, and it has kind of the same sound. It's an old musical, but like very, very well known in here. And we tried to tribute it also. So I recommend you to listen to the first song of the album, because you can hear to the melodies, but the melodies, as I said before, melodies of these three shanties invite you to try to make an epic arrangement. Sometimes it invites you to other stuff, like Jamie, it was like swinging and stuff, but Shiny O, Hi Barbary, and Spanish Ladies, it's so epic. If you just sing it, it's really epic. So it's not difficult to make an orchestral arrangement to make more like cinematic stuff. So yeah, I recommend you that one.
Awesome.
All right. I've got one last question here. So aside from the streaming services, where can people actually purchase your music if people are so inclined to support you guys financially as well?
Hey, there's this website. It's Ratio, which is RATTIO, which is there's people who distributes our stuff, like mailing it to any country in the world. So if you get in that page, I can send after to Stefan, because they also distribute other musicians merchandise and music. But there's this exact link to get to the merchandise and albums from Pony Pisador. I can send it to Stefan, the exact link, so you can click it easily.
Perfect.
And you can get there all of our CDs and all of our T-shirts, that there's some of them, and other stuff. Like, let's check that, and you will get surprised.
Perfect. Well, Miquel, awesome chatting with you, and thanks so much for making the time. I hope that we get the chance to sing again sometime in the very near future. Ideally for us, I think coming to Barcelona is the right idea. So we'll see what we can do there. But yeah, just really, really appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing how you think about all this stuff. I really, really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that too. And I want to sing with you on the same time and space. So I don't care if we go to Canada or you come to Barcelona, because both options would be like really awesome. But I really looking forward to it.
Amazing.
You could teach us some of those sitting on the beach around the fire kind of songs. That sounds pretty nice. Sitting on a beach in Barcelona.
If you come over here, we can do it in the proper space, which is on the beach around the fire.
Amazing.
Oh,
Looking
sounds
forward to
too good. Yeah.
Thank you
Right.
very much.
Bon
All
appetit.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.
All right. Well, another huge thanks to Miguel Perez for joining us. If you liked the episode, please leave us a comment, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time with another episode. Bye, everyone.
Escolteu, escolteu tot això que us he de dir. El vaixell salparà demà de bon matí. Els lingots de la reina són el nostre gran botí. Una última batalla i els podrem repartir. No dubteu en matar, no tingueu por de morir. Només el mar pot ser el vostre botxí. Mentre quedi encara alguna nau per destruir, la matança i el saqueig seran l'únic
Capità, una nau a la vista, a l'oest per estribord.
No la deixeu fugir, no li perdeu la pista.
No ens veuran venir, ja serem a bord.
Tripulació, anem a l'abordatge.
Foc a punt, canoners.
Que no s'atunin, no llanocini el pillatge.
No farem hostatges ni presoners.
No donarem quarter a aquesta escòria.
Esmoleu els sabres i els ganivets.
Prenem fora el timó i posem rumb a la victòria.
Ressonin els trabucs i els mosquets. Cantarem i veurem com fa un bon pirata. Les veles al vent guiaran el camí. Lluitarem sota el cel contra la mairada i només pararem quan tinguem el botí.
Tripulació, correu a la Santa Bàrbara. Veig les fregates a l'horitzó. Que corri la sang, vull olorar la pólvora. La meva senyal, foc a discreció.
Malgrat ens persegueixin els vaixells de la marina, els farem esclatar. A bord ningú no tem la forca o la guillotina. Som nascuts per morir al mar. Cantarem i veurem com fa un bon pirata. Les veles al vent guiaran el camí. Lluitarem sota el cel contra la mairada i només pararem quan tinguem el botí.
Els pirates esperaven ordres del capità, que tot plegant a llarga vista va fer el senyal per preparar l'atac. La nau s'omplia de corredissa mentre els filibusters s'enfilaven a les aranyes i els canoners encenien les metges. Al cap de pocs minuts, a coberta, regnava el silenci. La tripulació estava preparada. La fregata gemegava en rebre les primeres canonades, però la bandera blanca no es va alçar i el vaixell pirata va disparar una segona descàrrega que va perforar les veles enemigues, deixant l'embarcació pràcticament a la deriva. Tot estava llest per l'abordatge. Els mosquets van obrir foc i els pirates van assaltar la coberta. Els mariners van amagar-se a les bodegues. Cap d'ells pensava jugar-se la vida per tan poc. No va ser el cas del capità i un grapat d'oficials que es van llançar inútilment a l'atac. Com abelles defensant el rusc de les urpes d'un os llaminer. Van ser assassinats sense miraments. Els pirates van agafar els llingots i van marxar triomfants. Com cargols amb les primeres gotes d'aigua, els mariners que quedaven van sortir a coberta i es van trobar amb una nau sense timó, les veles cremades i barrils de pólvora per tot arreu. De sobte van sentir una canonada acompanyada d'una cridòria de celebració. Els pirates estaven practicant punteria. El caos es desfermà a coberta. La tripulació abandonava el vaixell a l'encontre de les aigües del Carib o intentava llançar-se a un dels pocs bots que quedaven. Una canonada va encendre els barrils i l'explosió va reduir la nau a poc més que engrunes.
Cantarem i veurem com fa un bon pirata, les veles al vent guiaran el camí. Lluitarem sota el cel contra la marinada i només pararem quan tinguem el botí. Cantarem i veurem com fa un bon pirata, no volem res més que vagar pels set mars. Lluitarem